Hello, everyone. This is Metro, and this is the Ace logo. Boom! Alright, well, we are back. We are in Terrace. Finally, I'm loving this place. Beautiful. Definitely my favorite raid in the game right now by a large margin. Look how nice that place is, man. You can see it in the top corner there. Just tremendous. We'll look at that more in other videos, but we are doing Protectors of the Endless. Now, if you've stepped foot in here in 25-man, you understand that the first three bosses are not quite as challenging as you would expect, but nonetheless, we will do a guide on how to heal them. Might as well get right into it, huh? So the first boss of this trio, this is on Elite, by the way, don't forget, as it's the only difficulty I've done, and we two-shot it, so anyway, Elder Regale is the first. He's going to have pretty much nothing to worry about. As long as there's an interrupt going out, don't worry about this raid strategy-wise. That's on your guys. But from a healing perspective, just realize this whole fight is basically setting you up, lulling you into a conscious thought that, you know, this is an easy fight. And then at the end, it just goes rape mode. It really does. So you got to save mana early, like always, I guess, but you'll definitely want to do it here as it's going to get pretty intense pretty quick at the end, and there will be some damage going on early. So things that you could do to bend your curve your way to help you guys out. First thing, only thing he's really going to do in this phase is throw out lightning prisons. They will do some damage if they get a few ticks off. So I definitely recommend, as soon as have the DBM timers up, just, you know, you could bubble them off if it's on you as a pally. But otherwise, just be ready to dispel. It should say who it's targeting, and before it even targets them, you'll have a dispel going towards them. And as long as everybody on your raid team, heal team are on the same page here, then this won't ever do any damage, essentially. But if you do let a few ticks get off because you're being greedy, when you get some heals out or something like that elsewhere, then you'll have to heal even more. And that's not what you want to do, is it? No, it's not. So that boss, he'll die without much consequence, but don't forget this is all like, it's setting you up for the last bit. Next boss, this one's Asani. Let's get this. Where'd he go? What the fuck? There we go. The only thing he's going to do that you have to worry about, once again, there's going to be things that need to be interrupted. That'll be on your group. There's going to be a ball that comes out and it kills. You'll want to stand. It's going to drop a yellow circle. Okay, on the ground. Just know that. And it will hopefully be in the dead center of the room. You'll run in there. Here, you check this out. This is what I would recommend you do. You run into the yellow circle and frolic around a bit, you know what I mean? Just get the buff. You're going to have a nice buff for your heals, cast time, all that shit. So that's very good. Very good. The trick with this, though, is, however, now this is something, if your guild's not doing, I would recommend. You'll want to save the last one until this boss dies, so you have the buff for the final boss, because things, as I said, are going to get hectic quick, and they're definitely going to need, you're going to need everything you have to do it. You really will, especially in DPS. DPS race is pretty insane in this last boss, but anyway, that's not really relevant to the healing. Nothing going on with the second boss, really. Just standard affair. Tank might get hit hard, hit him up. You will need, at this point, the tank tanking the third boss is going to be kiting him a bit. You'll need a dedicated healer towards him, as he'll want to be doing it quite far away from the other bosses. So typically, you'll have, you know, the boss perhaps by those stairs or something like that, and just have a druid or somebody follow him around, keep him up. Now the third boss, this is where things get real, so let's get prepared for it, shall we? Okay, so we are here with the third boss ready to go. Hopefully you've transitioned with the buff. If you did, I would definitely recommend spreading some hots, getting some mastery shields as a pally, perhaps some bubbles up as a priest, anything like that. Just make that buff count, because you're going to want it to count. Let's put it that way. First thing you'll notice here, okay, it's called Touch a Shot. It's just 60k shadow damage throughout every 3 seconds. Okay, that is a big deal. 60k damage every 3 seconds is not a joke, especially when there's other damage happening. You're pushing the limit for time here. This is definitely a race, but you need to realize that the longer the fight goes on, the worse it's going to be. So this is a good time to organize cooldowns. I'd recommend, you know, definitely Aura Mastery. That would be great for this. Spirit Link, Healing Tide, you know, anything you have, really. Bubble, Mass Bubble, the Tranks, Revitalization, anything. Any of the big raid cooldowns, definitely coordinate them amongst yourselves. You'll want to do this as it's going to get pretty insane towards the end. And as I said in the beginning, it's a race to say, oh, look how easy this is. I'll just spend all my mana to pad meters. And then when you get to the end, it's like, oh, fuck. You know what I mean? So anyway, the only other thing that you need to worry about as a healer, and this is kind of a big deal. So I've marked it up. Let's have a look. Okay, I've marked up 5 locations. Get those out of there. I've marked up 5 locations. Okay, this is essentially to say the tank is going to move from blue to green, then to red, then purple, then yellow. This is obviously different for every raid group, but the way this room is organized, it's organized perfectly for a 30-yard radius of an ability. What you want to do is you want to have him in a corner so it takes up the least space possible. Because if you have him in the dead center, this whole freaking platform is going to be filled, and the melee are going to have to run out in very weird directions. So if you want as little damage to go out as possible, you have to do it in a corner. That's the only option. So it extends past the playing field, you know. So you do it in these corners, basically. Blue, then green, that, you know, vice versa. You get to that corner past yellow, or you could have even started in this corner, probably behind blue. It's however you guys want to do it. But after you're done with the corners, it gets a bit tricky. So what that means as a healer is you need to find a range where he's not going to go, the tanks aren't going to go out of line of sight, but that you're not in range. So it's a 30-yard thing. Okay, so if it was there, this is what it would look like. It'd be, you know, about that far. Okay, so you need to find a range where you could actually heal people. So you use your little healing check, right? About that far. So yeah, this is about where you'd want to stand. So as long as the tank's in the corner, you could stand like by this little pillar thing. This is about as far as away you need to be. And then what's going to happen is he's going to move. So you got to stick with him, right? We'll do the range check. He's going to move this way. Okay, and meanwhile the bubble's still going to be, don't forget the bubble's still going to be there, the giant circle thing. And then he's going to move that way. And obviously this is where he goes out of range. So now you need to get once again back in position. So if he's there, this is about where you need to be on this edge here. It seems dumb, it seems trivial, it doesn't seem like a big idea, but line of sight is definitely a cause of tank deaths, and you will see it on this fight especially. The tank will be getting hit hard, people will be standing in that shit, you got melee derping, they're not paying attention. It's going to happen, definitely going to happen. So as long as you're prepared for it, as long as you understand that every time the tank moves, you have to do a significant amount of moving as well. Pre-hot them. You know, druids keep a life bloom, rejuve on them, maybe a regrowth for the movement. Renewing mists up on them. Hit them with some, you know, use that chi. Pallies, definitely mastery, anything like that. You know, just hit them up. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. You'll figure it out. But that's it for this boss. Not so bad. Just make sure you budget your mana. Use a potion early. I would try to spend at least 20% of my mana early and then use a potion to try to get back to about 85%, 90% if you can. That's that. See you in the next one for sure, though. It's a great raid.